Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 3 of the Spicy Bits podcast, your home for the freshest, hottest takes on everything ranging from politics to religion to society and so much more. So today's episode, we are going to be asking and answering the question, should abortion be legal? Now, obviously, this is a very, prescient question, right? Because literally just last year was the kind of landmark Supreme Court case, I believe it was Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, that overturned another landmark Supreme Court case, which was Roe v. Wade. So this is a very timely question, and I'm not going to get into, should abortion be legal at the federal versus the state level, because, to be honest, I think that question is irrelevant to the central debate at the heart of, whether or not abortion should be legal, or just debates surrounding abortion in general, which tend to center more on the moral aspect of abortion. Whether you believe that abortion is murder or that it is, the fundamental right of somebody's autonomy over their own body, regardless of where you stand on the issue of abortion, there is no question that people's views on the subject are very, very much centered around morality and around their own kind of ethical worldview and values. So in order to answer the question, should abortion be legal, I think we do need to start with, should abortion, or is abortion moral? Those are not the same question, and I don't think that they are going to have the same answer, at least when it comes to my opinion, but I think that's kind of a good place to start when answering the question of, the legality of abortion. Is it even moral, right? Is it even moral? Is it even ethical in the first place? So I was very much raised with the belief that that life begins at conception, right? Just drilled into me from a very young age, life begins at conception. And so all abortion is unethical, it is immoral, it is murder. And I wanted to know, okay, is that actually true, right? I'm the type of person, I like to gather evidence, have the facts, especially when coming to a conclusion or, making a moral judgment on something. So I wanted to know, okay, is that true, that life actually begins at conception? Is that true? So first I had to figure out, okay, how do I know when life begins? And I remember learning in biology class when I was in high school that there are, I believe, 7 biological criteria for life. And an organism, whether it's, a human organism, a plant organism, whatever, an organism has to meet all 7 biological criteria in order to be considered a living being. Has to meet all 7. It can't just meet 1 or 2. It's only once it meets all 7 is it considered a living being. So I did a little preliminary Google research, right? And I will admit, okay, I am not a biologist. I am not an expert in this subject by any means. Just did a little preliminary Google research, and I wanted to figure out, okay, at what point does a human fetus reach all 7 biological criteria in order to be classified as a living being? And for some of the criteria, it wasn't an exact estimate. There was a little bit of a range, it could fall, within a certain spectrum. But even taking the earliest possible estimates, a human fetus would not meet all 7 biological criteria for life until roughly 13 weeks in. So basically after the first trimester. So what that would mean is that scientifically speaking, right, biologically speaking, according to the field of biology, how they determine what is considered a living organism, a fetus would not be considered a living being until just after the first trimester. And what I think is interesting is I think there is a very common cultural misconception about what Roe v. Wade did. Because I think a lot of people, for some reason, think that Roe v. Wade legalized all abortion, second, third trimester, like just full legalization of abortion federally. And that is not true. That's actually not what happened. If you read the court case, all Roe v. Wade did is it legalized first trimester abortion federally, but left second and third trimester up to the state and the local levels to determine. That's why, a lot of states and localities, prior to Dobbs v. Jackson anyway, had, full legalization of abortion, and others had, heartbeat bills, right, where they banned abortion after roughly 12 weeks because they were allowed to do that under Roe v. Wade. They were allowed to ban anything past, 12, 13 weeks, and still fall in alignment with what was federally legalized under Roe v. Wade. Now, of course, Dobbs v. Jackson has basically overturned that, so it has left everything up to the state and local level, and so that's why there are some states and localities that are able now to completely ban abortion, even, a weekend, right? Like, just all abortion across the board is now banned. There's no legalization, there's no protection of first trimester abortion federally anymore. But of course, there are also states and localities that still, still have legal abortion all the way right up until the term, right? Right up until the time that, the woman is ready to give birth. So there's still a lot of variation. Really the only difference is just there's no longer that federal legalization of first trimester abortion anymore. That's the only thing really that's different now. So then, regarding the question of, is it moral? I personally am going to conclude, based on the, biological evidence from my own, little Google researching, right? I'm going to conclude that I think that second and third trimester abortion is immoral, for sure. I mean, biologically, a fetus is a living being at that point. If you are aborting it, then, yes, you are committing murder if you are engaging in second and third trimester abortion. However, I'm going to disagree with everything I was raised by saying that I don't think that first trimester abortion is immoral, right? That having been said, okay, I'm not like some conservative straw man argument of what like a pro-choicer would be. Okay, I'm not saying that, women should be having abortions just left and right for the hell of it. I very much agree with what kind of former President Bill Clinton said when he said that abortion should be safe, right? No, back alley abortions that could harm the health of the mother or whatever. Legal, accessible, right? But rare, just because you can have the ability to have an abortion does not mean we want a world where women are just having them left and right because why not? I'm not saying all abortion should be legal. Like I said, I think second and third trimester, I think it's immoral. But I for sure think first trimester, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I see no issues with having that remain legal at all. But what I will say when it comes to second and third trimester is obviously I morally oppose that. So you would think, right, I morally oppose second and third trimester abortion. I think that, those should be illegal. But I don't. I don't think that those should be illegal. And here's why. Because numerous studies have shown that banning abortion is actually not really the most effective way to reduce the number of abortions performed. Because all it is it's just a Band-Aid solution, right? It's just saying, okay, well, we don't want abortion, so we're just going to make it illegal. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't address the root causes of why many women choose to get abortions. Right, because a lot of the statistics that, pro-lifers will cite of how, like, the vast majority of abortions are elective or, voluntary or whatever, they're not caused by, they're not caused by, situations of rape or incest or, health issues or anything like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that the woman is electing or choosing to have an abortion just because she feels like it. I think a lot of times there's other factors that go into that, and studies have supported there are other factors that go into that, such as, economic or food insecurity, housing insecurity, right? Teenage pregnancies, right? Where maybe they feel like they're too young to really fully care for a child. There's a lot of other complex and nuanced factors that go into a woman's decision to have an abortion that I don't think are always taken into account. So I think that, and studies have supported the idea that addressing those concerns, addressing the root causes of those issues, by offering like more robust social welfare programs, for example, especially for, expecting mothers or, mothers with young children, whatever, by offering more robust welfare programs, right, that is far, far more effective at reducing abortion than just criminalizing it. So my belief then is that, morally speaking, I see no issue with first trimester abortion based on the scientific evidence that we have available to us. Second and third trimester, I believe, is immoral. However, I do believe that abortion should still be legal, right? All across the board, it should still be legal, but instead of promoting abortion, we offer increased social welfare programs, especially to mothers and, mothers with young children, etc., so that women are less likely to choose to get abortions. They have that, right? They have the option. It's still legal. It's still accessible to them, but they're going to be less likely to choose to engage in abortion if they have access to the food that they need, the shelter they need, financial resources, etc. I think if they feel like they have those supports to help raise a child that maybe they weren't expecting, or they don't feel like they are financially prepared to deal with, if they feel like they have those supports, they are going to be a lot less likely to choose to just eliminate the child, right? So that's my take on it, personally, is I believe the answer is yes, abortion should be legal. I've discussed kind of my thoughts on the morality of abortion, and why I think it should be legal, why I support the idea of legal abortions. Not that I want a world where they're commonplace, but, I do think that it should still be legal, and I've explained why. So that pretty much concludes the third episode of the Spicy Bits podcast. Once again, thank you very much to everyone for listening. If you follow the @SpicyBitsPod account on Instagram, we post a post for every episode. Every episode we have a post up there. And any thoughts, comments, feedback, whatever, insults, I don't know, whatever your reaction was to each episode, post it in the comments for that particular episode. And, if there's anything critical, right, post it there. Ideally, if there's anything you liked about the podcast, post it there too. That'd be great. That always makes my day. I did mention, I believe in the first episode, that I was going to try to have a suggestion box. For some reason, that is not really working, so I'm going to figure out something else. I'll probably post an update on the Instagram about a new suggestion box. But for now, just I guess maybe DM me if you have any suggestions. If you have any feedback on the episode, comment it. Follow us on Instagram if you don't already. And feel free to share the podcast with your friends. Thank you very much for everyone for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode.